Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I'm with the Wolf, and this is obviously just general share advice. And this is the Trade Watch general share advice. You can see here.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for pointing that out. It's very important that we do.
Well, we got into trouble because there's different templates. There's the RC Analyst
Yes.
one, and
Yes.
there's the CTM one. And yesterday we put out the RC Analyst one, which
I think what it suggests, we are getting quite senile, and we need help every single day.
Yeah, definitely. But we got the right one today. It's Trade Watch, and this is obviously just general share advice. Very, very clear, and we've done a great job today.
Yes. You can't tell us off today.
It is hard though, Wolf, for me working with polls, right? Because I just did read something it's not like I'm stalking the Polish people, but you've got in Poland. Do you know what your tradition is every Christmas?
Yeah, for Christmas.
Every Christmas, what Poles do every single Christmas, they watch on TV. They watch the movie Home Alone.
Do they?
Yeah, this is in Poland, and I think a few years ago they said we're not putting it on the TV this year, and 5 million Poles who'd been watching it for the last 5 years objected. It's now become a tradition of Christmas.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's a new one for me.
Well, just for you. Well, you live Home Alone most of the time.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm almost like a real movie.
All right, Wolf. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting bit because I need to understand Poles, and I know what I'm working with.
I'll tell you one thing that happened this week. We called it a Fat Tuesday. Do you know what a Fat Tuesday is?
No, what's that?
Or is it Fat Thursday? I can't remember. Okay, so we've got this tradition of eating Polish donuts, right? And that's one of the big days in the Polish calendar, is to eat as many donuts as you can.
And French crepes in pancakes in France.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that your computer talking, Wolf?
Yes, I know. You need to get that French accent.
Oh my gosh.
And we eat crepes in France on this day.
Oh my God. That sexy French accent. Tell Natalie not to talk in it. It's too much for me.
No.
Oh, okay.
So it's not Polish, then it's French as well.
So you're not home alone today?
No.
Okay, so at least you're going to have lunch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go starving like I normally do.
All right. On that note,
yes.
Let's have a look at the stocks. So, realestate.com, Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know we knock it because it's expensive, but it wasn't a bad report. I'll give them that. Not a good enough for them to trend, but most probably good enough to hold their position.
I'd say so. Look, the problem, while the obviously announcement was very, very good from a lot of angles, because it's trading, it's such high multiples, it's going to struggle to get back. Because remember, we are seeing a revaluation of a lot of tech stocks, right? So they're not going to trade on 100 times anymore, I don't think. So yeah, it just needs to probably now maybe trade sideways for a little while until the valuation catches up to its financials. And it might take maybe 6 to 12, 24 months. But yeah, this is how I feel it's gonna play out. But you gotta like the financials, and the reason why the market loves still realestate.com.au, and I've talked about it already, is right now, if you can deliver profits with revenue growth, you'll still get a premium to your company share price. So that's the reason why I suppose still loved by a lot. It's actually profitable, and it has been profitable for a long time, unlike some of the other tech stocks.
Okay, but obviously just sideways at the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
Wolf, POY.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good story.
Mm-hmm.
I had it as a sell last week for trenders, but long-term holders, it's still a hold, right?
Yeah.
Explain what's all this about, Wolf. I mean, so they've opened this sort of they bought this beans. Looks a bit like you actually, Wolf. This bean, but
they've bought. Remember that there was an announcement about 6 months ago. They bought the franchise called Dumb Ways to Die, right? So a lot of people just went, "Oh, what's that?" It's an old school type thing that probably, I don't know, maybe just adding to the IP. But it seems like they've been working on the side and, quietly on something. And today they've come up with a trading halt. Do you think I know what it means? Absolutely no idea, Dave. This is beans. So presumably something to do with net fungible tokens, which is that part of the cryptocurrency world. And they've been presumably selling some of this stuff. So, and they launched it today. So I don't know. Look, we're going to have to wait for that. We got to wait for the announcement because I can't answer the question. I got no idea what this announcement will be about. Presumably some sales, but we'll see. And let's see what happens. I'm open.
The rumor in the street is around 3 million plus in sales, but we'll see what comes out. So exactly. Wolf, could this be something potentially huge for them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. if they can, if the rumor is, I don't know, some whispers, let's call it whispers. What, 3 million in a day? Hello.
You know what, Wolf? It's amazing. Everyone sits around, don't they, trying to think of amazing ideas how to make money. But in the world we live today, just some beans with dumb ways to die turn into cryptocurrency. Bang.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna wait to see what they say, and we need to find out a bit more about this because if this is lucrative, then maybe we're playing at a completely different ball game with PlaySide. Don't worry about the games. Hello, cryptos.
Right, it's exciting anyway. Wolf, it's a crazy world. We're going to talk about that a little bit later with some of the price action on the markets at the moment. But I just want to talk about CNB. Mm-hmm. And again, okay, some pretty interesting visuals. Could you talk to us, explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they had a discovery back in December at the Nil Desperandum project, right, in Australia. And they've hit like 4% copper over 41 meters. So they've obviously had to follow it up. I mean, you get a hole like that, you go, I've got to drill some more holes. But they drill it very closely spaced. In other words, 25 meters away from that drill hole. So the visuals they got out of the drill hole today, that's the results today, are talking, I think, about over 50 meters, they're getting about 30% chalcopyrite, which is the primary copper sulfide mineral. So presumably we're gonna see some very similar results. 4% copper, we could see something similar over 50 meters maybe, and it ended with in mineralization as well. So more spectacular drill holes means share price going up, Dave. So we talked about it before. It's definitely one of the one on my watch list to trade and hold. If you've taken profits, that's brilliant. You're holding probably by now just your profits.
Yeah, listen, it is a tradable stock, but Wolf, I was looking at comparing it to EM2, right? Mm-hmm. It's already now double the market cap of EM2 on a few drill holes. I mean, EM2 have those sort of drill results coming out the whole time. I think the last ones on the 24th of January, they had not 40, they had a 15 meters at 4.1, they had a 46 meters at 2.6, yeah? Mm-hmm. I mean, how important it is to get your share price moving up.
The circumstances, isn't it? I mean, the circumstances is that these guys in Australia maybe a bit louder, a bit more fashionable than being in the US. I mean, there's just so many little things that potentially could see day and night between the two stories, and that's unfortunate, but that's how the market operates.
Wolf, I just want to have a look at three stories that look good on the charts for those charters out there. Hopefully Woodside will work out. I mean, oil was up again. There's talk about it going higher, so hopefully that trend's starting to look good. So if you're obviously in there, just hold in there. Hopefully it'll be okay. Another trend we put on, SWM. Now that's starting to look very, very good. And it's actually got a buy signal. So if you're not in that, and you and possibly Wolf, the markets will be, again, green tonight in America because I think Amazon had a good report. Snap looks like it's going to be up.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Talk about them in a moment anyway. Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, Friday will be a good day and SWM will go through that buy signal. So we are trending at the moment. If you're not in it, I think it's worth a look on that sort of price action. Yep. Two others, which are equity story favorites, is Goodman Group. Again, I think if it can hold by the end of the day above that 23.66, certainly I think looking like a buy for me. And the other one is PWH, and a stock that was trading around $10. I like the price action this week. It's excellent. Hopefully that can go on, at least trend back up to sort of mid-9, at least $9, maybe mid-$9. It looks very, very good. Can I ask you about PWH?
Yes.
Are we due some news from them, Wolf?
Absolutely. I mean, we're due to news from a lot of companies because it's the reporting season this month. So we'll see. They're definitely going to report something in the next 3 weeks. So I'm presuming it's going to be pretty good announcement. I mean, we are following the story. We know where they're heading. They've got some pretty exciting new products coming through, and they're working on some specky type stuff for the aero industry, the space industry, and the electric vehicle industry as well. So that could be some interesting announcement over the next 3 to 4 weeks, Dave.
Yeah, but when I say, do you know what I meant? What day we got the news?
I don't know exact dates. I can probably find that out, and I'll talk about it on Monday if you want.
Okay.
But if I did it now, it might take 5 minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Wolf.
Okay, sorry.
Now,
yes.
Now, Wolf, we're going to talk about American stocks and give some suggestions.
Yes.
You coward, you chickened out, because
the
whole place has come a little bit. It's become a bit too skitsy for you. You just need things to settle. Now it's a mad world at the moment, and the mad reactions on share prices. So let's first talk about Facebook. Now, I get the panic in this one, Wolf.
I do.
Right. I understand this one. For me, could go a lot lower because, how I understand it is it's very, the iPhone, the phone, holds a lot of power, right? And the fact that Apple have changed their restrictions on advertising, you're trying to improve customer privacy. This has caused a huge issue for Facebook to generate revenue. Now, they're very. I mean, you can see why Facebook tried to get their own telephone going. I think their own mobile phone going about 8 years ago. It was a disaster. It never happened for them. You can see why they did, because they're very much Apple really holds the cards, doesn't it?
Dave, also Facebook trying to do these reels as well, which is they're trying to basically fight YouTube and other streaming platforms, and that's not going that great either, right? So they trying to reinvent themselves, because the advertising revenue business model is flaky. You can see what can happen, right, to it. And I've always said that for me, you've got products, yet your actual whole business model depends on advertising. It's just ludicrous.
Oh, yeah, and also they're losing customers, because I think customers on Facebook are getting fed up with all the advertising.
They are. And they are moving to some other media platforms like TikToks and Snaps and so on. So I think Facebook is in trouble. I agree with that. I think also what Zuckerberg said last night is that they've hit the ceiling of gaining more subscribers and members to Facebook. So it's almost like an ex-growth story, Dave. So it's need to be re-rated. That's what it's going through right now. It needs to be re-rated.
And it could be re-rated a lot cheaper than where it is now. So
at the moment it's trading on 17 times, right? So it's not as if now, after this falls, it's not as if it's expensive now, but if the growth is slowing, then potentially it can go back to $200.
Yeah, definitely.
Another 10%.
And he's put a lot of money into Meta, hasn't he?
Metaverse, absolutely.
And that's burning what, 10 billion or
some ridiculous numbers, absolutely. So he's staking the future of the company pretty much, I think, on this metaverse. Is it going to work? We're going to probably find out in the next 5 years.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, I think they are in trouble.
And it dragged a lot of the Nasdaq stocks down last night.
Right, everything pretty much down. It's just amazing the power of a FANG stock, isn't it? When it gets hit significantly, it just sows panic into everything else. So,
and one of those stocks, Snap, down 23%. It did give a lot of panic.
Yep.
Now, let's look on the positive side, because they put out their earnings and they look pretty good, and in pre-market they're up 40%.
Yeah, look, this is why I've been saying that the markets at the moment are driven by kids. Really, I wish we can get an adult to get behind the wheel, because it's just ridiculous, the volatility in some of these stories and the markets. So, like you said, Snap went down because it's a social media platform, and it's going. So Facebook is bad. Everything else has to be bad, right? According to the markets. So yeah, look, it's obviously had faults because it was re-rated anyway, right? We get that, but falling 23% down yesterday, and then we've got Snap going up today on the back of the earnings, which was actually very good, Dave. I think they had like 40% revenue growth, right? Hello, that's pretty good. So it's up after market 57%.
All right, so it's going to be.
Please, just think about this for a second. How crazy this market is when you're down 23% in one day because of someone else's problem, and now you're up 56% the next day.
It's crazy. And another story. Well, I mean, hopefully the Nasdaq will bounce back tonight, because there's another story again. The infamous Amazon, which, to be honest with you, they had a lot of reports, and I was reading about Amazon, that people weren't expecting the earnings to be that good. But they've come out, they've performed, they've done it again.
Yeah, look, at least they beat the expectations. I mean, that's probably the key here, because it still wasn't perfect. There were still issues in there, and I think Amazon said that the chain supply issues are still prominent in their operations globally. Costs are going up, so they had to raise prices as well. Especially, I think they did that for Amazon Prime for the first time in about 4 years. So overall, they are fighting hard, right, to I suppose, stay above water. And yesterday announcement, so they were down 8% last night with Facebook issues, and they're up 15% this morning. So I am expecting a big bounce.
It's looking a bit realestate.com. Maybe not enough it's enough to not see them trend, but enough to get them to sort of hold their.
I'd say so. At least, yeah, maybe get back to that 3,000 level, right? That's probably what might be happening here. I'll give you another example. Pinterest, pins, right?
PINS.
Yes, yep. So another social media type company, obviously being smashed significantly from $90 to 24. So that's almost 75% down. Down last night with Facebook, down 10%. Up this morning on the news, 20%. Yeah. Now, if this is not volatility, I don't know what is. Yeah, exactly. Speechless, Dave. That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, they're still struggling.
Of course, the fact is that these guys are still coming up with decent results. It's what I'm trying to get here is that everything just gets chucked out. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just panic stations. There is no there's no proper, even, I don't know, looking at companies, what they are, what they do, are they going to report what? Market doesn't care. It's just Facebook is down, we're selling everything.
But I mean, in all fairness, when you look at the chart, it was just trading here a year ago, right? Yeah. So it's had just a ridiculous move up, and it's just come back to more or less where it was.
But in 12 months' time, do you say to yourself, has the actually revenues and bottom line increased over 12 months? The answer is absolutely yes, right? So should it be back where it was 12 months ago? No.
Yeah, well, I think the market is changing its view on tech stocks there. It's not. I don't think that it's going to hold at the moment. It doesn't look that with interest rates going up, these lofty valuations and lofty.
Yeah. So you're right, David. We just have to wait for the volatility to end and finally see where some of these stocks will end up. But I'd say within the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to see some really good bargains in some of these really good stocks in America. Because, like I said, there's just indiscriminate selling, bot selling, and amateurs running some of the markets. And I think when I say amateurs, retail investors.
So just Pinterest, are they making a profit?
But let me have just very good question. Let me have a look. Yes, they do. They got a P/E ratio of 47, 48.
Yeah, it's still lofty, isn't
It's
it?
expensive. Yeah. But, at least they've got a profit. And if they're growing by 50%, that's probably going to drop down to, pretty quickly down to maybe 20s, 30s in the next 12 months.
Right. I mean, obviously it's a big engine. It's a popular website, isn't it?
It is. It's definitely one of the bigger social media platforms.
All right, Wolfie. On that note, we've got obviously PLY, which we've got a lot of people in this. Hopefully, that's going to be very interesting announcement.
It's positive.
And if it is positive, then and starts moving up, this could be, funny enough, a buy again for those traders. And we've got 4 stories looking good. Obviously, SWM. If you're not in it, it's got a buy signal. I think it looks excellent. Goodman Group is looking very, very good, and PWH. And if you're not in Woodside, jump on in, because I think it's looking even better.
Just one more thing before we go, Dave. I want to talk about lithium, right? There's an article on AFR today saying that lithium price rocketed 45% in January alone. And what the experts are saying, right? So obviously, presumably some industry veterans, is there is no end in sight to the run. So if you are still playing those lithium stories, I'd say you're fairly comfortable for the moment, still playing them. So, your CXOs, your INRs, your probably IGOs, even MINs, which are restarting that huge mine in Australia, right? So you still might be okay with that, to play these sort of stories, because it's extraordinary price action from lithium, and you might be onto a good trade.
What's the AGY doing, Wolf? Let's look at a few. Yeah, all right. I mean, they have come down a little bit, so maybe an opportunity on a lot of these lithium plays. Possibly,
absolutely. So just to have a look what you've got, and see if it's still worth holding, because at least the fundamentals, below the stories, the prices of lithium and the demand is still extremely strong. So you might have another week or two of that. So it's a hold. Dave, one more thing. That is, we're doing the Ask the Analyst at 12 or 11 Brisbane time. So please join us. So we're going to discuss.
Wolf, and also I've got to mention here, sorry, Karen asked me. We've obviously redesigned the Einstein's page, and what we've had a lot of questions and answers from people, and although I think having sort of technically it's looking a lot better. All the sort of results are sort of all programmed now. It's all computerized. We are in the process of sort of going somewhere. We're changing Einstein's page, so it's going to look a little bit like it did before. So it's going to give us a lot more room to make our own comments in there, right, with the charts. So we're going somewhere in before. So we're just redesigning that. That'll be ready for next weekend. So this weekend, I will just be putting out an email, Wolf, with the bullish stories. Just why we're fixing the Einsteins up.
Thank you for that.
On that note, thank you very much, Wolfie.
I'll see you in an hour.
Thank you. Bye-bye.